Good morning, all. This is Jack from Charting the Markets, and this is the pre-market webinar for the morning of Tuesday, the 28th of July. My disclaimer: I do this for educational purposes only. I'm not here to share my technical analysis with you. I hope you can take some board I'm doing and learn from it, transfer it to your own charts, and I'm not here to show trading signals. This is a video for paying subscribers at chartingthemarkets.substack.com. It's published on YouTube after a delay of 24 hours. All right, great. Let's have a look at EFs, where we are seeing a little bit of a rally today, but basically we had an attempt at a rally yesterday. At a decent one, and it failed. Have we formed a potential level bottom? No. And that does preserve a potential bullish setup that I didn't mention in my post this morning, but well, we will see. NQ, we have gone significantly lower here. If we didn't already have a weak 6-minute buy signal fix, we would have had another one fix yesterday, so might see a bit of action from that today. We do have a potential little level bottom here. Looking at RTY, we've still got a head and shoulders which is broken down with a target in the 2823 area, and I was talking about the possibility that might head down and make that target, because we've still got daily RSI 14 sell signals fixed across the board. We've still got every index, including the Philadelphia Semiconductor Index, under the daily middle band, and we're seeing every breakout is failing, and sooner or later, if that doesn't change, we're going to see a breakdown. YM, we might actually be seeing a bit of a breakup here. Actually, I've got the this was the strongest rally yesterday. Actually managed to get over the daily middle band, but fell below it by the close. But if we were to see a break above the right shoulder high here at hang on 1 second, about 53.108, then that actually would fail this head and shoulders with a target at the a retest of the all-time high from not too far above. So I am wondering about that. On the other hand, we could potentially make that target without significantly altering what was happening on the other indices. So we will see how that goes. In terms of DAX, we've got a nice looking IHS which is broken up with a target at a retest of the all-time high. Still got a possible head and shoulders forming on the ESTX chart. And Nikkei, well, this is interesting. I haven't marked it in yet, but obviously this could still be a bull flag. But I also marked in a possible head and shoulders that might be forming, and this is that head and shoulders breaking down. Now, as I was saying on the post this morning, any head and shoulders that's broken down can turn into a bullish pattern as soon as it breaks over the right shoulder high. But in the meantime, this is actually a head and shoulders which is broken down with a target quite a long way below. I'll mark that target in by the time I do it tomorrow, but if we do see a breakdown, then this actually is not quite as impressive as the head and shoulders that's broken down on SOX, but it's reasonably impressive. All right, let's have a look at the bigger picture charts. And looking at SPX, I was noting that total fail at the back test of the daily middle band yesterday. We came within 15 points. It wasn't full back test, but it was pretty close. The bullish setup I didn't mention was, of course, this one, which is the possible triangle we've got forming on SPX, and that held at the low yesterday. So I'm watching that with interest, but we've got a nice looking triangle support trend line here. A break below would look correspondingly bearish and set up a target at 72.9418. But if we were to see a break up here, then this would be a bullish triangle, which we would ideally head back to this trend line here, pull back to maybe 74.60, and then go back and retest the all-time high. All right, looking at the SPX chart here, nice head and shoulders broken down. We will see how that develops. But if we break over the right shoulder high at 9525, that wouldn't have a target at the all-time high, but that would have a target at a retest of this high pretty close to it at 75.8150. All right, looking at the Qs, these have been weak. And continued weak yesterday. No current divergence. This is the closest to the getting to the possible near miss target on the daily RSI 14 sell signal. Here we don't have any kind really of pattern that's broken down. We do have a potential bull flag set up here, which I did mention in the post today. In terms of Dia, this had a very keen breakup, attempt at breaking up from the daily middle band yesterday. It closed below it, but might be having another crack at that this morning. On the dia chart, we've got a head and shoulders that has broken down with the target in the 510 area. That could fail, of course, on a move over 527.78. And we could, of course, be forming a larger head and shoulder pattern option. Although there are a couple of options for that, so I haven't marked it in. All right, looking at dia. Dia, we've got... Sorry, IWM. IWM, we saw another test of the daily middleman yesterday. That too failed. We've got a head and shoulders which is broken down here with a target in the 279 area. The right shoulder high is at 298.21, so if we see a break over that, that turns bullish. But until then, this is a bearish pattern pointing firmly downwards. In terms of DAX, nice break over the daily middle band. Wondering about a high retest on Nikkei. Nikkei hasn't broken down yet like the futures, and obviously I'd like to see that break down as well. But I think we will see. I think this isn't sure this is an EOD chart, but we will see how that develops. But if that is going to break down, then chances are that will be showing on this chart by tomorrow morning. All right, let's have a look at DX. DX is getting pretty close to a retest of this high. That could be a double top, or we could continue upwards. We'll have a clear inflection point there. USD getting towards a retest of the low. GBP USD, still not sure what's happening here. USD JPY retest of this high, may continue higher. USD CAD is lagging the other two. This is the US dollar underperforming against the Canadian dollar. But I'd be expecting this, if the dollar's going to continue upwards, I'd expect to see at least a retest this high here at 1.425. Australian dollar is now testing the rising support on what may well be a bear flag. So hasn't broken down yet. NZUSD, we've got this IHS which is broken up, and I'm watching this IHS right shoulder low. If that breaks, then we can head straight down. In terms of the bonds, we've seen a bit of a rally that may be failing. This is a potential little level top, and I've got the same on ZN here. In terms of the war, we've not really seen a lot of actual good news, but we will see how that goes. All right, looking at, hang on, wait a second. All right, looking at oil. Now, oil, we've got some buy signals forming here. That's good and bad news for oil bulls here, but the war news isn't good. The Strait of Hormuz is still closed. There is talk about talks, but the Iranians don't seem too keen. Not that surprising about that, really. So we will see how that goes. And also, the Yemenis have been bombing the Saudi oil refineries, and have actually closed the alternate route for getting Saudi oil out via the Red Sea rather than the Strait of Hormuz. So frankly, that's pretty bad news. But so far, we've not seen much of a reaction. We went a little lower overnight, but we do have a possible 60-minute buy signal brewing here on Brent, and we've got a buy signal which is fixed on CL. Now, we haven't actually had any buy signals for a very long time. Sell signals done all right, but I'm expecting to see some rally here. Certainly on the news, we could have a rally. The downside of that is we could be forming a head and shoulders here. I'm not really seeing any news to suggest that head and shoulders would have a shot at making a target back at the lows, but I'm just mentioning that. Ideally, the right shoulder high on CL would be in about the 84.75 area. And in terms of Brent, I've got a potential head and shoulders here too. Couple of options here. I've drawn in the main one, which hasn't quite reached. This is the other possibility here. Might see a rally towards about 89. HO is rallying here, but no signal. RBOB rallying here, but no signal. NG, we obviously failed back down here, and I'm wondering, do we still have divergence there? A second. Nope, we lost it. So no current divergence on the on NG, and we are continuing down at the moment. All right, looking at just a quick look at the bigger picture charts on oils. In terms of the daily charts, I was wondering about a retest of the high when beyond the stage we could get an RSI 5 sell signal on the RSI 5. We could still potentially get it on Brent on the the daily charts here on the RSI 14, and we could potentially get it on the RSI 5, but depending on where we close today. But it does look as though we're not going to get any meaningful sell signals if we get a retest of the high. All right, let's have a look at GC, where we had a buy signal which made target, but we've gone back to the lows. I'm still wondering about a possible low retest here. Silver, we've got a nice looking double bottom, and we've already retested the lows. Palladium, platinum, still arguably both broken down from their flags, although they could still be forming, and I'm wondering about retest the lows there too. HG, just kicking around, holding the monthly pivot of support at 6.33 at the moment. All right, looking at KC, this looks as though it may be heading back up towards a retest for high. Sugar, this is looking more like a bull flag than anything else at the moment. This double top hasn't really made the effort to get down towards the target in the 1398 to 1413 area. In terms of CC, CC could still be a head and shoulders broken down with a target in the 4400 area. Doesn't make a bad looking bull flag though, and I'm wondering if that is breaking up. We will see. Lumber made the sell signal target with a bit of a retracement here. No obvious topping pattern forming. CT is uncertain. I am uncertain about CT as well. We shall see. ZW is pulling back, and I'm leaning towards seeing more upside in the near future. We've got a possible 60-minute buy signal brewing. Corn pulling back as well, broken down below this wedge support. Could be forming a head and shoulder pattern on soy. No obvious topping pattern here, but again, we've broken the rising support. On ZL, seeing a bit of a pullback here. After that ends, I'm still looking for a retest of this high here at about 74.7 area. Live cattle, week 6-minute buy signal is fixed, which hasn't been doing anything, and a 60-minute sell signal is fixed on lean hogs, which has done a little more, but still isn't really moving the needle on the bigger picture. We've got a big IHS, which is broken up on lean hogs, and a big head and shoulders, which is broken down on live cattle. At the moment, it's not really looking as though we've got anything which is competing with those. We shall see. All right, great. In that case, no questions. I think that's a wrap. Everyone take care, and I'll catch you guys tomorrow.